Howdy folks, welcome back to Faded Paint Garage. I started having a hard start issue with this truck a couple weeks ago. Hudson, my youngest son, and I took this for about a 100-mile drive recently, and I noticed it was having a hard start issue after stopping. And I thought it had to do with the heat because it was probably 95 around there that day, and so I attributed it to heat. Didn't think much of it, and then went to Hot Rodorama. Seemed to start getting worse. And going, that was really hot too. It was probably 110 that day, but I ran it in the morning before it got hot, and it just sat at the show, and then it didn't want to start up very good at the show. And then after that afternoon, it started surging on acceleration. So I missed the 8 o'clock cruise, unfortunately, because it wasn't running good enough, so I headed for the barn. So now I'm going to do some troubleshooting here. So I'm suspecting it's fuel. So I've got a fuel pressure gauge here hooked up. So this engine here, it's got these chrome fuel rails that run down towards the frame rail. There's a Schrader valve on that rail there, so that's where you hook up the fuel pressure gauge. This is just I think a Bosch or something I bought off of Amazon, nothing fancy. So I'm going to do some testing here. So what I should see when I turn the key just in the on position or run position, but not start the engine, I should have 35 pounds here. So we'll see what happens when I do that. Okay, I'm going to reach in the cab here. It's going to be a little hard to see, but you can see the needle from here. So I'm going to turn it so we're in run position and nothing. Turn it off, turn it on. I see the needle just bobbing just a little bit there. I'll zoom in a little bit better. Let's see what's on. Nothing. I'm just going to go back and forth real fast just so I can build it up. There we go. So I hear the fuel pump running, and I hear it shut off. Yeah, I think. So what I'm thinking, I can hear the fuel pump turning on and off. So I believe that is a fuel pressure regulator issue, because I can build up pressure, but then it's not holding pressure, which maybe it's bad enough that, what's interesting though, in just the key on position, just leaving it once. Yeah, so I hear the fuel pump turn on, but I'm not building any pressure. I guess if the regulator was bad, because the fuel pump will only run for a brief time if the engine doesn't run, so it shuts itself back off. So my guess is it's bypassing enough that it won't even build up pressure in that run position. I do need to change the fuel pump, because if I'm gonna do any performance mods of this engine, it's just got the stock 90 in it now, so I might go ahead and do both, do an upgraded fuel pump and the regulator. But I suspect that my issue right now is the regulator, because I think even with a bad pump, if I was able to build up pressure, it should still hold the pressure in the fuel rail in the fuel system if the regulator was good. So that's my guess, which I'm glad that's all it is, because that's a pretty easy fix, I think. So we'll go order some parts and get them installed. Alrighty, I've received my fuel pressure regulator in the mail. Looking things up to buy them. There's various manufacturers, and there's a lot of really cheap ones out there. I decided to find the real deal, which is the Motorcraft OEM, and there's the part number on that if you need one of those. These are a little harder to find. This is a NOS, so hopefully it's still fine. I'm sure it will be. I mean, use what you can get. These Motorcrafts are expensive and or out of stock everywhere right now, so if you got to use a cheaper brand, you know, it is what it is. So I've been looking up the easiest way to do this project, because the fuel pressure regulator is located right down in there. It's right, that little gold thing behind the EGR valve there. Another little spot for me. It's the one where this hose here, it's going into it, so you can see it. Sorry, just trying to get down in there. It's that gold cap guy right there. So some people take the whole intake off, I guess, take the EGR valve off. What I'm going to try is just to take the throttle bracket off here. I think if we just remove the bracket right here with the 2 bolts and the throttle cable, I think I can get right in there and get at that guy. So that's going to be my plan of attack. So we'll see how it goes. That'd be a lot easier than taking the whole intake off, of course. So we'll give it a go. Throttle bracket is off. Just 2 bolts there, and then this screw thing to hold the throttle cable into that slot. I assume if you have cruise control, you have to slip it out of there too, but that's no big deal. So that, I think that gives me plenty of room to get at that guy, which is right there, the gold thing. Here's the new one. So it's stamped Bosch on this part, but then it does still have the Ford logo, so Bosch must make it for Ford. Comes with some O-rings, new mounting screws, and a gasket thing that goes on here. So you can see 1, 2, 3. That's what we'll have to take off to get the other one out. So just take the bolts off. Should just pop out of there. Got to undo the vacuum hose. Should be pretty quick and easy as long as I can get in there. We'll give it a try. Okay, I got the original one out, and it wasn't easy, and the biggest part is the factory bolts are Allen as well, and the issue is getting the back one out. Let's see, how is this? So I think it's this one. Oops, sorry, this one here. But anyway, there's no, it's really hard to get back in there, and I'm not even sure I'm going to put it back in there with the space that there is. What a guy needs, I think, to do this easily is a ratcheting bit holder like this, so you have very little clearance to get in there. It's a real tight fit. I was able to use this for quite a bit, and it worked good. But if I had a ratcheting end on it, I would have had this thing out lickety split and probably put back in lickety split. It's going to be hard to, because I can't get my fingers in to where the back hole is to get that bolt started. So I can see myself probably fighting with this unless I'm real lucky to get that put back in there. But you can see these 2 outer ones aren't too bad. I ended up unhooking these plugs here, the 2 engine harness plugs, just popping them off, and then I also unhooked the plug that goes to, I don't remember what that is, and then the EGR. So just getting the wires and stuff out of the way. So I was at least able to get it out without taking the intake and stuff off. But that back screw is going to be hard, which it would be anyway, because even with the intake off, you're fighting the fuel rail and the wiring unless you want to take the fuel rail off as well. So if I'd known about the ratcheting thing, I probably would have bought that before I even started this project. So they look to be 4mm Allen heads. So I used this guy, and then I even cut one of these off to kind of make it fit in there a little bit better. So, and then I had a bit holding head for this, but even this one wouldn't fit in there. It's just too long with not enough room to get it in there. So we'll try to get the other one back on and see how that goes. Alrighty, got it all back together. So what I ended up coming up with is this setup here. I just found an end wrench, this 1/4 inch end wrench that these bits would fit in, and then I just taped that bit in there, and that was good enough. I could get in there and get that back bolt started and get it tightened down. So it was a little tricky, but I've ordered myself a ratcheting end wrench bit set like this. So if I ever have to do it again, I'll be set. But that fixed it. Starts right up again like it should. So yeah, thanks for watching.